The insurrection cost an estimated 663 Italian lives, one fifth of them women, and the widespread destruction of the city, but it was a popular victory. The Neapolitan revolt, wrote the resistance leader Luigi Longo, was a guiding example, granting sense and value to the call for insurrection in the rest of occupied Italy. The partisan movement in Italy that developed after the German occupation grew rapidly following the success in Naples. Estimates suggest that partisan units by the summer of 1944 comprised between 80,000 and 120,000 men and women. They were loosely coordinated by the Committee of National Liberation for Upper Italy, CLNAI, created in September 1943, which operated independently from the main National Liberation Committee based in the southern Allied occupied areas. Although in contact with SOE and the American OSS agents, the partisans operated largely outside the control of the Allies as they labored to expel the Germans from the rest of the peninsula. The head of the OSS in occupied Italy, Max Corvo, later observed how difficult it was to persuade the CLNAI to control their paramilitary activities in conjunction with orthodox military plans. The Allied High Command was wary of the political ambitions of the resistance, above all the prospect of communist inspired social revolution. In liberated cities, the British tried to install local aristocrats as provisional authorities, but were forestalled by the local committees of liberation and by popular resentment. A report from Number One Special Forces, the SOE headquarters in Italy, warned that communist bands were preparing themselves to seize power. Aid to the partisans went where it was judged to be most useful militarily, but least threatening politically. The result was an allied approach to resistance that was largely instrumental. When resistance was not needed or its help regarded with suspicion, the Allied High Command could act with indifference, even hostility. When an armed insurrection broke out in Florence on 8 August 1944, involving thousands of civilian volunteers alongside the partisans, the approaching Allied forces were reluctant to support it, and after the German withdrawal, they moved tanks to the outskirts of partisan camps to force the irregular forces to disarm. When the Allied advance finally stalled in October 1944 along the German Gothic line, the resistance to the north was effectively abandoned. In October 1944, only 110 tons of supplies were dropped against the original promise of 600 tons. Worse still, as the Allied front line closed down for the winter months, German and Fascist forces were given notice that they could engage in a savage anti partisan war without fear of intervention.